Baby, I want to see the red mole. Late at night, after I got off work and went home, I quickly took a shower and couldn't wait to send a message to my online dating partner. As soon as the message was sent, a video call popped up from the other side instantly. I was stunned for a moment. I quickly pointed the camera down to make sure only my mouth was showing before pressing the answer button. In the camera, a slender and beautiful neck popped up instantly. Under the fair skin, the clear collarbone line showed a faint arc, and a red mole on it added a touch of charm. I slightly curled the corner of my mouth, quickly took countless screenshots, and was about to speak up to praise. The next second, the other side hung up. I was stunned and was about to send a message to ask what was going on. Then a message from the other side came. My dear's mouth is so sexy. I almost couldn't hold back. My face blushed, and my fingertips subconsciously rubbed my lips. After realizing my action, I was so scared that I quickly let go, not willing to be outdone. I replied, baby, your red mole is very beautiful. I really want to taste what it's like. I waited for a long time, but the other side didn't reply. I threw my phone away in boredom. Humph, little guy. Just wait and see. I'll surely make you fall head over heels for me. I've been chatting with my online dating partner for about a month. This was our first video call, just because during a chat, he said he had a very beautiful red mole on his collarbone and asked me if I wanted to see it. I agreed without hesitation and said my lips were also very beautiful. So that's how the above scene happened. Generally speaking, I wanted to see his red mole, and he wanted to see my lips. After the video call ended, obviously both of us were very satisfied. I started to be busy with work again, organizing the work I didn't finish today, until the moment the phone notification sounded. I pressed my sore neck and casually picked up the phone. Sweetie, I just took a cold shower and didn't reply to the message in time. Sorry, Dada. A smile curved my lips. A cold shower? Who would believe that? Humph. You little thing. You can't even hold it in after just seeing my lips. If we meet in person, you'll probably kiss my lips raw. But on the surface, I still replied reservedly, baby. Take fewer cold showers. It's not good for your health, Dada. On the other end of the phone, Henry, who received the message, had a smile on his lips. He impatiently pulled open the collar of his pajamas, revealing his sexy Adam's apple. He coughed dryly, picked up the red wine beside him and drank it all in one gulp. He changed the topic and said, Sweetie, what are you doing now? Why aren't you asleep yet? The other side replied quickly, Woohoo! I'm working overtime, Dada. I've been under so much pressure recently. I don't want to work hard anymore, Dada. Henry's eyelashes fluttered, and he licked his lips. He felt a bit hot. This time, he directly pulled open all of his collar. His firm and strong abdominal muscles were instantly exposed. Come to the imperial capital tomorrow. I'll pay you 200,000 a month, Dada. Upon receiving the message, I was so shocked that I widened my eyes, and my little tiger teeth rubbed against the corner of my mouth. With trembling fingertips, I replied, Is online dating really reliable? I was deceived before, so I have a bit of a lingering fear. Henry on the other end of the phone saw the message, his eyes narrowing tightly, with a gloomy look in the depths of his eyes. He crossed his legs and filled his wine glass slowly. Deceived before? Wasn't he actually the first person the sweetheart had an online relationship with? A strong sense of jealousy permeated the air. Without saying a word, Henry directly sent a transfer of 50,000. And he added a note, the travel expenses will be directly reimbursed. Humph. The sweetheart can only be his. He pretended not to see those two messages. On the other side, I was instantly stunned by the 50,000 transfer, and my fingertips trembled even more violently. Oh my goodness. I've fallen in love online with a rich young lady. I quickly ran to the mirror and looked at myself. The young man in the mirror had delicate features, a straight nose and thin lips. The slightly upturned corners of his eyes were like a faint blush. With a curl of his lips, a pair of little tiger teeth showed, and he was so beautiful that one couldn't take their eyes off him. I proudly puffed out my chest. Being extremely confident in my own appearance, I modestly accepted this invitation to meet in person. Humph. I'm so handsome that there's a young lady willing to support me. That's simply an honor for her. I unceremoniously received that 50,000 yuan transfer. I grinned and replied, "Baby, I love you. I'll go buy a plane ticket to the imperial capital right away. You'll be able to see me tomorrow." Only then did Henry smile with the corners of his mouth, lazily leaning on the back of the chair. His somewhat fierce eyes softened instantly. "Okay, sweetheart. Send me a message when you arrive tomorrow. I'll come pick you up." I'm still very nervous about this in-person meeting. In order to leave a good impression, I specifically ordered a bouquet of roses. Before boarding the plane, I casually sent a message to my online dating partner to ask about his features, so as to avoid not being able to find him in the end. "Baby, come to the airport to pick me up around 5 o'clock this afternoon. To prevent misidentification, tell me your features." The other side replied instantly. "By then, I'll be wearing a gray suit and holding a rose in my hand." Oh my God, wearing a suit. It seems he's a cool and handsome guy. I was delighted. I felt that we were quite in sync, as we were both wearing gray clothes. So I replied to him without hesitation. "What a coincidence. I'm just wearing a gray tracksuit and holding a rose." After Henry received the message, his Adam's apple rolled. He looked happy and was extremely satisfied with his gray suit at once, typing quickly with fingertips. "That means I'm a perfect match for my dear." Seeing this message, a blush gradually crept onto my face. Really, what he said was so embarrassing. As I was about to board the plane, after replying with a simple yes in a reserved manner, I quickly turned on the flight mode. My online dating partner is so good at flirting. I'm really afraid I won't be able to resist. To show that I'm not the kind of person who can be easily led by just a few flirtatious words, I need to be a bit colder. On the other side, after seeing the single yes in the chat box, Henry kept rubbing his fingertips on it. What does yes mean? Does it mean she agrees? Or is she just casually perfunctory? As time passed bit by bit, after thinking for a long time, Henry simply threw his phone aside. He buried his head in organizing today's documents. He thought that he must get it clear after they met. At 5 o'clock in the afternoon, I got off the plane on time. Holding a rose in one hand, I turned off the flight mode with the other and started sending a message. "Baby, I've arrived. Where are you?" The other side still replied quickly. "Dear, I'm waiting for you at the exit." Then he sent a kissing emoji. My mood began to get excited. Just thinking about meeting him soon, I inexplicably started to feel nervous. So I replied, "Baby, I'm so nervous." Upon receiving the message, Henry, who was originally calm, began to feel nervous too. He started taking deep breaths with a steady look on his face. Meanwhile, his fingertips typed quickly. "Sweetheart, don't be nervous. Don't worry. I'll take the initiative later. Seeing that the other party would take the initiative, I felt that I should also be bolder and strive to kiss the mole that I had been longing for a long time tonight. So, dragging the suitcase and holding the red roses, I rushed towards the pick-up entrance. "Hey, I'm about to meet my online date. I'm really excited and nervous." Soon I arrived at the pick-up entrance. Among the people coming and going, I squinted and quickly looked for the cool girl in a gray suit holding a red rose. After looking for a long time, I couldn't find any girl who matched the description. I frowned tightly. I started sending a message to my online dating partner, "Baby, I'm already here. Why can't I find you?" At this time, Henry was also confused. He had been looking around for a long time. There was simply no girl in a gray tracksuit holding a rose. Instead, there was a very delicate-looking young man opposite who quite matched the description. So he replied, "Sweetheart, I've been here for a while. Wave your hand, Dada." After typing this message, Henry squinted and carefully scanned the surroundings. After looking for a while, he accurately noticed that the young man opposite started waving his hand desperately after he sent this message. Could it be a coincidence? Henry refused to believe it and sent me another message. "Sweetie, wave both hands." After he finished speaking, this time he clearly saw the young boy across from him raise his hands again and wave vigorously once more. This time, Henry couldn't pretend he had misseen. His Adam's apple bobbed, and he replied with trembling fingertips, "Sweetheart, I've seen you." On the other side, I, who was waving vigorously, saw this message. I slowly put down my hands and quickly replied, "Oh, you've seen me. Why didn't you call me?" Henry didn't reply this time. He strode towards that side. The closer he got, the more violently his heart beat. At this moment, I also felt strange and frantically sent messages to my online dating partner with my head down. "Baby, there's a strange man walking towards me." However, I didn't wait for the other person to reply. A rather magnetic voice fell into my ears. "Lucas." Huh? Hearing my own name suddenly, I instinctively looked up at the source of the sound. Wait, a gray suit and holding a rose in his hand. "Henry." I stared in shock with wide, open eyes. Henry saw the rose in the young man's hand across from him and couldn't resist rubbing his fingertips. His voice suddenly became extremely hoarse. "Yes, it's me." Hearing the response from the other side, I took a big step back suddenly. "Holy shit, it's really you. Why are you a man?" I seemed unable to accept this fact and turned around to run away. Henry grabbed my arm, his eyes dark. "Why are you running? Am I that unseemly?" The man across from me was very tall, about 1.9 meters tall. His short, broken hair was casually scattered on his strong eyebrows, and his eyelashes were like crow feathers, especially those peach blossom eyes, as deep as a pool. He was very handsome and good-looking, but obviously he wasn't my type. I'm a straight man. Damn it. I was extremely devastated inside, and even more so on the surface. "Dude, you talk to me about all sorts of things every day. Why didn't you mention your gender?" Henry was also a bit crazy. After he was silent for a while, I don't know if he had accepted the fact that his online dating partner was a man. He calmly loosened the collar of his suit, generously showing the red mole on his collarbone. His Adam's apple bobbed, and his voice was slightly hoarse, clearly trying to be seductive. "Since we've met, why not make do with it?" Suddenly seeing that red mole, I unconsciously licked my lips, and my eyes instantly showed intense desire. So this is the red mole that I've been craving for so long. He looks even more handsome than in the video. I really want to. After Henry noticed my gaze, his black eyes flickered, and he silently pulled his collar wider. Suddenly, realizing what I was doing, I was so scared that I immediately shook off his hand. Make to my foot, I ruffled my hair, looked at the handsome man in front of me reluctantly, and couldn't help grinding my teeth and emphasizing, "I'm a straight man, a straight man, a real straight man." Henry seemed a bit absent-minded at this moment. He looked up at me, and his gaze slowly shifted from my chattering lips to the rose in my hand. A few seconds later, he lowered his voice and softly asked me, "Is the rose for me?" Me, who was still chattering. I was seriously talking about my sexual orientation, but unexpectedly, his mind was completely elsewhere. I bit my lip. My canine teeth tingled slightly. Angrily, I stuffed the rose in my hand into his arms. "Yes, yes, yes. Fine. I bought it specially for you." "Okay." I pursed my lips helplessly and frowned slightly. While perfunctorily answering, I rummaged through my phone to see if there were any return plane tickets. After looking for a long time, I found that there were no flights today. I frowned in annoyance. After fiddling with my phone for a long time, I found that Henry was still staring at me. I immediately frowned unhappily. "Okay, I'm leaving. Stay here by yourself. I'll return the money you transferred to me later. I'm just unlucky this time. I didn't confirm the gender before the online dating. That's it. Let's not meet again in the future. Damn blind date. I'd better go back and work overtime immediately." Hearing that I was leaving, Henry was stunned. His eyelashes trembled slightly, and a sense of panic rose in his heart. "You're leaving? Why not? Should I go to your place?" I rolled my eyes. I really couldn't understand his way of thinking. Hasn't he realized the seriousness of the matter yet? Isn't he absurd to have a blind date with a man in an online relationship? After hearing this, Henry pinched his fingertips, and his face turned strangely red. It seemed that he was thinking about the possibility of something. Seeing his expression, I widened my eyes and involuntarily covered my buttocks with both hands. You're not really. Before I could finish speaking, I saw Henry holding my suitcase and standing calmly beside me. He smiled slightly and casually interrupted me in a deep and pleasant voice. Let's go. Go? Where to? No way. Dude, is he for real? Seemingly guessing what was on my mind, he raised his eyebrows and added slowly. The cost of living in the capital is high, and there are no return flight tickets now. How about staying at my place for a few nights? Let's have a good talk about this in-person meeting. Don't worry, I have no other intentions. Moreover, since you've come all the way here, it's not too late to stay and play in the capital for a few days before leaving. He deliberately lowered his voice, looking dead serious and staring straight into my eyes. There seemed to be a meaningful glint in his eyes. When I heard that, I thought what he said made quite a lot of sense. It would be a pity to go back just like that after finally coming to the capital once. As for staying at his place, it's a free accommodation. It would be a waste not to take it. Thinking this way, I suddenly found him more agreeable. Regardless of being my online to offline date, he seems quite suitable to be a friend. He's rich and good looking. It would be quite decent to take him out. I nodded in satisfaction, showing my canine teeth and smiling. Lead the way. After all, I'm going to stay at his place, so I can't keep showing a cold face. Henry's eyes flickered. He took my suitcase voluntarily and walked ahead to lead the way. His eyes moved slightly. The corner of his mouth curled up quietly, and a hint of darkness flashed across the bottom of his eyes. After a long time, he let out a soft grunt. Sitting in the passenger seat of Henry's car, I looked out of the window in boredom, watching the scenery flash by outside. Unconsciously, I recalled how I got to know him. I remember that one day after work, tired as I was, I opened a certain King of Glory game and started a match. That day, I was already annoyed because of the heavy workload, so my killing strategy was rather chaotic, and I kept going up to give away my life. So, as expected, I was scolded by my teammates. Well, being scolded was okay. It was really my fault anyway, so I didn't talk back. However, since I hadn't played for a long time, I was using my younger sister's account with a relatively low rank to practice. Unexpectedly, because of this, they started to bring up gender issues. They said things like, "What are girls doing playing games? Just go home and have kids obediently." All kinds of swear words filled the screen. They even turned on the microphone and started shouting abuse, with a high frequency of using offensive language related to mothers. I was so angry that I rolled up my sleeves and started typing furiously. So what if I'm a girl? Why is there gender discrimination in playing a game? After exchanging a series of retorts, my hands got sore from typing. I felt even more annoyed and even wanted to quit the app and uninstall it. Just then, I saw another game teammate actually offering to help me. He joined this back and forth argument. My eyes instantly welled up with tears, and I quickly looked at his profile picture and gender. It turned out to be a young lady. No wonder she couldn't stand it. Suddenly, my fighting spirit was rekindled. After an unknown amount of time, finally, this back and forth argument ended with the other party losing their temper. I instantly let out a sigh of relief. Just as I was about to add him and say thank you, I found that the other party had already left. I felt a bit regretful for a moment. After all, we had just been in an argument together. I wanted to get a friend slot. It's a pity that the other person left quickly, and I didn't have a chance. Suppressing the regret in my heart, I looked at the time and started another game. Unexpectedly, I met him again. Looking at that familiar profile picture, I thought we were really destined. So, after the game, I immediately actively added him as a friend. He might have also noticed me and clicked to accept. So, for the next period of time, as long as I was free, I would log into my sister's account and ask him to play games together. Anyway, my sister doesn't want this account anymore, so I just used it without a second thought. Being lazy, I didn't even change the profile picture and gender. As time passed, I forgot about this matter. So, with such an avatar, I interacted with him back and forth. Gradually, we got more and more familiar with each other, and our cooperation became better and better. We actively added each other as WeChat friends. It's obvious what happened next. We had an online relationship. We were extremely affectionate all day long and couldn't wait to check each other's chat boxes several times a day. We shamelessly spouted all kinds of cheesy love words. As we chatted, I became his darling, and he became my baby. Recalling this, I instantly got goosebumps all over my body. How annoying. Leaning back on the chair, I turned my head to look at Henry, who was driving seriously beside me. After being silent for a few seconds, I pursed my lips, glanced to one side, and casually asked, "Henry, why is the gender of your game account female?" Hearing this, Henry's hand on the steering wheel paused, and he didn't answer me immediately. Instead, he slowly asked in return, "What about you? Why are you the same?" With a honk, there was a red light ahead, and the car slowly stopped. Henry's mouth curved up. He turned his head to look at me in the passenger seat, with a playful smile on his lips. I blinked my eyes and remembered my game avatar and gender. After a moment of guilt, I was about to explain. Turning my head, I suddenly met Henry's meaningful eyes. In an instant, my heart trembled. The voice of my explanation unconsciously grew louder. "Well, that's because I used my younger sister's account. I forgot to change the avatar and gender." After hearing this, Henry casually tapped the steering wheel with his fingertips. Really? Is it really that much of a coincidence? Somehow, even though it was the truth, I felt more and more guilty. In the end, I simply didn't want to speak. I turned my face to the side and didn't want to talk to anyone. Just then, the traffic light turned green, and the car started moving again. Fortunately, Henry didn't ask further, and the car fell into silence again. After a while, I suddenly realized why I had felt guilty. I gritted my little canine teeth in anger. Damn it, I was outwitted. Not only did I fail to find out what I wanted to know, but I was also outmaneuvered. I was completely under his control. Damn it, the scheming and reserved man. He's such a phony. Henry is really rich. Looking at the big villa in front of me, I felt like a country bumpkin coming to the city. I even began to doubt whether it was a right decision to come to his house. However, I don't have the luxury of thinking too much now. After the car drove into the garage, Henry personally took my suitcase out of the trunk. While dragging it forward, he didn't forget to turn back and call me. "I've already informed the cook to prepare dinner. You can tell her if you have any food taboos." I shook my head. I don't have any taboos. I'll eat whatever is cooked. As a guest, I'm self-aware enough not to make too many requests. Besides, he's even providing me with free accommodation. Hearing this, Henry didn't say much and just nodded. After entering the villa, we soon went up to the second floor. I stopped following him and sat on the sofa as the butler motioned. I curiously looked around with my eyes and touched things here and there. I was so captivated by the wealth that I couldn't take my eyes off. After a while, Henry came down empty-handed and sat beside me. I immediately sat up straight on the sofa. On high alert, the suitcase has been placed upstairs. The first room on the left is the guest room. He got very close, and his fingertips even touched the corner of my clothes. I uncomfortably moved a few times to the left on the sofa and whispered, "Thanks." After Henry saw my movement, his eyes darkened. A few seconds later, while I wasn't paying attention, he slowly closed the distance again. This time, his fingertips directly grabbed the corner of my clothes and rubbed it hard. It seemed like he was venting his anger. I was completely unaware of this and was lowering my head, playing with my phone. Soon, the cook prepared dinner. I looked at the delicious dishes on the table. I couldn't help but sigh in my heart that it's really great to be rich. Seeing this, Henry let out a soft laugh and naturally picked up a mouthful of vegetables for me with the serving chopsticks. "Eat more if you like. It's specially prepared for you." I was already captivated by the delicious dishes and didn't notice his actions at all. My eyes and heart were all on the food, and I was burying my head in eating. In the meantime, Henry picked up a few more dishes for me and put them on a new plate. Then he silently pushed it to the side of my bowl. Seeing me eating, his eyebrows immediately filled with a smile. A hint of doting also inadvertently appeared at the corner of his mouth. He thought that his online dating this time was really a good match. The butler and the cook were standing aside. Seeing this scene, they also couldn't help but smile. They exchanged a tacit look. They thought simultaneously in their hearts, "This is the first man the young master has brought back. We must treat him well." After the meal, someone quickly cleared away the dishes and chopsticks. Having nothing to do, I told Henry. I went up to the second floor, entered the first room on the left, and planned to take a rest. When I pushed open the door, I was shocked by the decoration inside. There was a large chandelier hanging in the room, confusing and dazzling. There were marble floors, tiles as bright as mirrors, and imported brand chairs. There was even a famous brand piano on the large balcony. Everything in the room was luxurious and magnificent. Is this a guest room? I believe it was the master bedroom. No. So this is how the guest rooms of the rich are decorated. I sighed with admiration, rubbed my eyes, and lazily yawned. After sitting on the plane for so long, I felt a bit sleepy right after being full. Squinting my eyes, I found the direction of the bed and got into it without saying a word. Before I could change into a comfortable sleeping position, a clear and refreshing fragrance entered my nose. I closed my eyes, grabbed the quilt, and took a deep sniff. Just before falling asleep, I was still thinking, the smell of this quilt is so similar to the smell on Henry's body. I don't know how long I slept, in a half dream and half awake state. It seemed that the door was gently opened and then closed. I turned over irritably, and my consciousness was hazy. My head also started to feel dizzy, and my whole body felt alternately cold and hot. Curled up in the quilt, I hugged myself tightly, trying to open my eyes but failing. Just when I was so uncomfortable that I wanted to groan, a cool hand gently rested on my forehead. It was like a camel in the desert encountering water. With my eyes closed, my face was flushed. I quickly grabbed that hand and pressed it against my face. The next second, the coolness spread from the palm to my burning cheeks. I let out a satisfied sigh and held onto that hand tightly. I had a fever. After Henry called the family doctor, he quietly sat by the bedside, silently looking at me. His pair of eyes were pitch black, showing no emotion. In my sleep, the hand of his that I was holding became very warm and soon lost its coolness. Uncomfortably, I closed my eyes and sobbed, and my head felt even dizzier. The next second, another cool hand touched my cheek and gently pinched it. I groaned discontentedly and without hesitation let go of the hand that had already become warm. In an instant, I reached for the hand that was pinching my cheek. I held it tightly, not allowing him to pinch or move it randomly. I even unconsciously slapped it once. Henry watched quietly. After a long while, he let out a soft laugh. He cursed under his breath. "You ungrateful little thing." Then, he took off his shoes and got into the quilt without hesitation. I felt someone beside me, cold all over. Immediately, I wrapped myself around him with my hands and feet. Henry hugged me tightly, by the way. He put me on his chest, pinched my waist and gently rubbed it. I fell asleep unconsciously, buried in his neck, and kept exhaling hot air there. Henry seemed a little unbearable, and his Adam's apple kept rolling. He stared straight at my eyes, my nose tip, and my lips. The number of times his Adam's apple rolled increased significantly. Just when he was suffering from holding it in, the doctor finally came. He opened the door and immediately met Henry's dark eyes. At that moment, the doctor broke out in a cold sweat all over. He tremblingly prescribed a fever medicine and gave a few instructions. After going downstairs to get a cup of hot water, he immediately carried his medical kit and left the villa at full speed. During that time, he didn't even dare to glance around. After the doctor left, there were only me and Henry in the room again. He leaned against the headboard, suppressing his voice and patiently patting my back. He gently woke me up and coaxed me tenderly, wanting to feed me the medicine. I squinted my eyes groggily, my vision blurry, thinking I was at home. Hearing the soft whispers in my ear, my head felt dizzy, and I thought it was my dad. When I heard him say he was going to feed me medicine, I obediently nodded. I slightly opened my mouth, signaling my dad to put the medicine into my mouth. But after waiting for a long time and seeing no action from him, I covered my aching head and pouted, on the verge of crying. Before I could even make a sound, the next second, several pills were stuffed into my mouth. Immediately afterwards, a glass of warm water was placed against my lips. I quickly drank the water, swallowing the bitter medicine in my throat. Then I groaned a few times, closed my eyes again, and fell asleep. Henry had been holding back for a long time. After feeding me the medicine, he stared blankly at his slightly wet fingertips. A few seconds later, he casually touched his lips and gently rubbed them a few times. In that instant, his mind became completely muddled. He kept gulping and stared fixedly at the face of the person in his arms. He looked at him longingly. His eyes were beautiful. His nose was beautiful. And his mouth was extremely charming. Everything about him made Henry's heart flutter. Every bit of him hit Henry right in the heart. From the in-person meeting to the moment he saw Lucas, his heart had been fluttering from time to time. He was so smitten that he couldn't find the words to describe it. And his desire was also growing, whether it was love at first sight or just being attracted by his looks. Anyway, Henry, has taken a fancy to Lucas. He feels like a peeper hiding in the dark, suppressing his growing affection, holding the chains, squatting in the corner, waiting for the right moment, put it firmly on Lucas's hands and feet, and lock him tightly on the bed. So, from the moment Lucas agreed to go home with him, Henry had planned everything. In short, first deceive him home, and then gradually win his heart. He even gave up his own room. So what if he is straight? Just bend him. From the moment they met, he was destined to be his. But so little time has passed until now. Henry can't hold it anymore. He can't wait to win his heart gradually. He wants to achieve his goal in one step and completely possess Lucas. It turns out that being smitten is just a momentary thing. Regardless of gender, Henry hugs the person in his arms tightly. Even though it's painful to endure, he doesn't want to let go. The next day, I woke up in Henry's arms. I've recovered from the fever, but my mind is still a bit muddled. I feel the warm chest beneath me. Subconsciously, I rub against it. Wait, a warm chest. I suddenly woke up, propping up my body and looking up. I instantly saw Henry's handsome face. It was pinkish, with the corners of his mouth slightly upturned, as if he was having a good dream. He was still asleep, with one hand tightly around my waist. I moved a few times, and that hand tightened subconsciously. I stared wide-eyed, feeling extremely absurd in my heart. Henry, why is he in my bed? No. Two grown men lying in the same bed, hugging each other. This looks kind of strange no matter how you look at it. I was so scared that I just wanted to run away. While he was still asleep, I was about to slip away quietly. The next second, just as I lifted a corner of the quilt, I was suddenly grabbed around the waist and pulled back. Where are you going? Henry's eyes were half closed, and his voice was hoarse from just waking up. He was still a bit dazed and saw the person in his arms trying to slip away. Subconsciously, he hugged my waist to stop me from leaving. Thinking that I still had a fever, he reached out to touch my forehead. I frowned and watched all this, grinding my teeth. I slapped his hand away forcefully. Although I was being hugged, my heart was already dead. I'm defiled. As a straight man, I was hugged by another man all night. Realizing all this, I couldn't help but curse loudly. Damn it, I'm straight. You really had ulterior motives. Recalling what happened yesterday, I suddenly understood. There's no such thing as a free lunch in the world. This guy clearly has a crush on me. That's why he schemed to coax me back home, saying he had no other intentions towards me. It was all a lie, and I actually believed him. This is so fucked up. I used all my strength to break free from his embrace. But Henry was so strong that he held me tightly and wouldn't let go. He remained silent all the time, quietly watching me struggle. His eyes were dark and terrifying. Henry, let me go quickly. I was held too tightly to break free. In the end, I was exhausted and lay limp on his body. I gasped for breath and continued to scold. I even gritted my canine teeth and bit his arm tightly. Have some self-respect. Do you still want to force someone? I'll never like you. Give up this idea. You disgusting bug. I'll never like you even if I die. Before the words were finished, I was turned over and firmly pressed down. The next second, my lips were bitten. Since this mouth can't say anything nice, then don't open it. Henry fiercely kissed the lips he had been coveting for a long time. After the breaths mingled, there followed a storm like biting. It's over. I'm completely ruined. Just as I was about to scold a few more words, Henry seized the opportunity and stuck out his tongue. As soon as it touched, it immediately entangled. The surrounding atmosphere gradually heated up, but my heart was extremely cold. I was wrong. Terribly wrong. I shouldn't have come to meet him just for 200,000 yuan a month. It's all because of money. It's my own fault for being money worshipping and wanting someone to support me. Now that I've been targeted by a wolf, it serves me right. I stopped struggling, scolding, and biting him. I lay back quietly in his arms. Fine. Just let him kiss me. It's like being bitten by a dog. Let it be Lucas. Henry is rich and good looking. If I'm with him, I can stay away from those miserable jobs, right? I kept comforting myself in my heart, but when I noticed Henry's hand kept moving down, my laid-back attitude disappeared in an instant. Damn it, Henry. We've only known each other for less than a day. It's okay for you to kiss and bite me. But how could you? Damn it. I don't want to say the following words. Henry is a pervert. No one would think about that kind of thing just after getting to know someone. There were tears in the corners of my eyes. I lay on the bed like a dead fish, biting my swollen lips weakly. Henry went into the bathroom. He left me alone on the bed, doubting my life. Listening to the pattering sound from the bathroom, I angrily pounded the bed. Woo-woo, my innocence. Although he didn't do anything. Yet in a way, he did everything. I fell into the state of just giving up again. Give up, Lucas. Your innocence is gone. Now only Henry's money can mend your heart. I looked at the new transfer of 1 million in my phone. My broken heart gradually pieced itself back together. I clicked to receive it without hesitation. This is what I deserve. I kept telling myself in my heart that it was just like being bitten by a dog a few times. There's no need to take it too seriously. After that day, a strange relationship formed between Henry and me. He has to hug me to sleep every night. His occasional little moves are still within the range of what people can tolerate. The frequency of our kisses is also increasing. Gradually, I got used to it. Sometimes, as soon as he lowers his head, I just raise mine and kiss his lips. I'm quite skilled at licking and sucking, and also very good at changing breaths. Just like this. A month has passed. My wallet is getting fatter, and Henry has gradually let his guard down. He didn't keep an eye on me as closely anymore. Finally, on a sunny afternoon, while the other people in the villa were on vacation and Henry went out to handle some work, I picked up my suitcase and ran away without hesitation, laughing out loud. I'm still a money-loving man with principles. Okay, although I like money, I don't like being a kept man at all. I hadn't left that villa for over a month. I was almost suffocated. Finally, I got the chance. I carried the suitcase in my hand. After booking a ticket to go home at night, I ran freely on the street. Wow! The air on the street is really fresh. I should have run away earlier. Staying with that reserved and scheming man was really a pain. So, while I was venting by shopping crazily, I kept cursing Henry. But in the end, I suddenly ran out of words. Well, I've cursed too much and can't think of new swear words. I scratched my ear and walked towards the next luxury store. Soon it was night. After rushing non-stop to the airport and passing the ticket check, I got on the plane without hesitation. Everything went too smoothly. It was so smooth that it made me feel uneasy. On the plane, I held my phone and looked out of the window with pursed lips. Blue sky and white clouds. The feeling of freedom. I covered my pounding heart. I felt I had overthought it. Even if Henry knew I had run away. So what? Anyway, all he knew was the city I was in. And nothing else. A few hours later, the plane landed. It wasn't until I returned to my rented cottage that my heart gradually returned to its normal rhythm. Throwing my suitcase aside, I looked at my bed with teary eyes. It's been a month. I haven't seen my bed for a month. I really miss it so much. It was already late. I quickly changed the sheets and quilt covers. There was no time to tidy up the rest. Rubbing my eyes, I sleepily got into the quilt. I just can't get rid of the habit of wanting to sleep as soon as I get off the plane. I rubbed against the quilt and soon fell into sleep. I don't know how long I slept. I was woken up by thirst. Lying lazily in bed. I didn't want to move at all. I yawned, too lazy to open my eyes, and habitually called out to someone. Henry, I'm thirsty. Go and pour me a glass of water right away. As time passed, 1 second, 2 seconds, there was not the slightest movement. Frowning, I angrily kicked my foot. Henry, I'm thirsty. Your darling is thirsty. You won't be able to kiss me after I die of thirst. After a long while, the drowsy me finally realized that I had long escaped from Henry and returned home. Habit is really a terrible thing. I scratched my hair irritably. It had only been half a day since I left. And I actually missed him. It's simply absurd. On the other side, Henry was sitting in a private plane, squinting his eyes. He stared fixedly at the unmoving red dot on his phone. He pursed his lips, and a low-pressure aura emanated from his whole body. With a cold expression, he said to the driver's seat, "Take off as fast as possible." When Henry arrived, I was sleeping soundly, hearing the knock on the door. I instinctively covered my ears and turned over irritably. I wanted to just ignore it. I was so carefree that I didn't think much about it. I thought it was the landlord coming to ask for rent. After all, although I hadn't lived here for half a day, I hadn't returned the rental either. But the person knocking on the door was extremely patient and was still knocking after 10 minutes. It didn't seem like the landlord's style. I opened my sleepy eyes, wearing my pajamas loosely, and suddenly walked to the door. I opened the door, half squinting with my eyelids drooping. Without even looking at the person carefully, I started grumbling. Knock, knock, knock. Disturbing people's sweet dreams early in the morning. If you have something to say it quickly. I'm sleepy. Hurry up and give me. Before I could finish speaking, my wrist was grabbed by someone. The next second, my waist was encircled. The person outside the door came in and closed the door behind. I was stunned and finally managed to lift my eyelids. A familiar face immediately came into view. Henry. I stared at him in shock with my eyes wide open, and the sleepiness immediately vanished. How did he find me here? I had only run away for half a day. Hearing his name, Henry lazily responded with an His big hands skillfully grasped my waist and rubbed it from time to time. Seeing that I was still looking dazed, he quickly picked me up in a princess carry. Then he threw me onto the bed and pressed himself on me. After getting along for a month, seeing him like this, I know exactly what he wants to do. I frowned and tightly covered my lips. I haven't brushed my teeth. No. Henry glanced at me, his eyes darkening. A few seconds later, he took a step back and buried his face in my neck, biting hard. His hands were also restless and reached down. My face gradually flushed, and my breathing became unsteady. Just when I was feeling dizzy, Henry stopped. His pitch-black eyes stared directly at me. Why do you want to escape? Why do you want to leave me? Is it because I didn't give you enough money? Or are you not satisfied with my figure? Or did I not serve you well enough? Henry tilted his head, talking more and more, and looking more and more aggrieved. He was always confident in his skills. After all, it was obvious that I was very comfortable. But still, he added the last sentence uncertainly. Henry didn't want to force Lucas. He was the one Henry liked. Pressing him repeatedly would lead to a bad result. So, he began to show weakness. Actively be the vulnerable one. I blinked my confused eyes and looked at his aggrieved face. After hearing his question, I pursed my lips and was silent for a while. Unconsciously, I recalled the past month's time getting along with him in my mind. Henry was really too good to me. He got gold coins every day and satisfied me in all aspects of daily life. He always granted my requests, except for being a bit rough in bed. He almost had no other faults. He was simply the image of a perfect boyfriend. Thinking of this, my heart slowly softened. I reached out my hand to smooth the wrinkles on his frowning brow. All right, stop making a fuss. It's my fault, Lucas. Stop avoiding it. If you're in love without realizing it, you'll lose a lot. After hearing this, Henry's eyelashes trembled slightly and he buried his face in my neck again. This time his hands were bolder and he directly lifted my clothes. His lips gradually moved to my pectoral muscles. I closed my eyes and bit my lips tightly. I'm the kind of person who yields to persuasion rather than coercion. After Henry knew that I had escaped, he chased after me and unexpectedly didn't get angry with himself. Instead, he looked extremely aggrieved. It seemed like he was showing weakness. Thinking of this, I proudly curled up the corners of my lips. I put my arms around his waist and nestled into his embrace. Smelling the familiar scent, my heart calmed down a lot. Sure enough, without him by my side, I always felt that something was missing. However, it's good that I found him now. I put my arms around Henry's waist and rubbed against him contentedly. Lucas, admit it. You've already gotten used to him, even if he is a man. So what? Liking is liking, regardless of gender. After that day, I understood my own feelings. I terminated the lease and packed my luggage. I followed Henry and left the city where I had worked hard and lived for a long time. After a few hours, it was already late at night, and we finally returned to Henry's villa. Everything was still so familiar. After dinner, I quickly went back to the first room on the left on the second floor. Henry always followed closely behind me, never leaving my side. After I entered the door, I immediately locked it. Then he grabbed my wrist and skillfully pinned me against the door panel. His big hand touched my face, and he leaned in to kiss me. I put my arms around his waist, raised my head, closed my eyes, and kept responding. In a daze, I stretched out my fingertips and touched the direction of the red mole on his collarbone. After a while, taking advantage of the moment when Henry took a breath, I lowered my head and kissed his red mole fiercely, the place I've always coveted. It seemed that it wasn't enough, so I switched to biting. Henry let out a low hiss. His eyes were hazy, and he weakly pushed my shoulders. His voice trembled. Sweetie, bite gently. I can't take it. Hearing that, I bit even harder. By the way, I asked again the question that I hadn't gotten an answer to before. Baby, why's your game account a female? Henry's eyelids were all red, and his eyelashes were trembling. While gasping for breath, he pressed my hand against his abs. Say you like me, and I'll tell you. I squinted my eyes and changed biting to licking. I said, rather gritting my teeth. Henry couldn't stand it for a moment, but still held on stubbornly. Stubborn guy, I thought to myself. I sighed and pinched his abdominal muscles again. Finally, I still fulfilled his wish. I slowly came to his ear, full of affection, and slowly said, Henry, I like you. When Henry heard this, his heart trembled, and the lust in his eyes was almost overflowing. He suddenly hugged me tightly and quickly replied, Me too, Lucas. I smiled and hugged his neck tightly. And by the way, took his earlobe into my mouth and bit it. Okay, fulfill your promise. After being satisfied, Henry was very easy to talk to. He buried his head in my shoulder and took a deep breath. Then he lazily answered my question. Sweetheart, I'm also using my sister's account because I was too lazy to change the avatar and gender. I didn't make any changes. When I heard this, my eyes instantly sparkled. Baby, we're really destined for each other. I'm also using my sister's account. I didn't change the avatar and gender because I was too lazy. Henry let out a soft laugh, picked me up in one go, and strode towards the bed. Didn't I say? We're a match made in heaven.